Hi, my name is Adir Rizan-Skinner. Welcome to the Healthcare Stage, the go-to podcast for innovators dedicated to enhancing health and wellness globally. In each episode, we dive into insightful conversation with those at the forefront of healthcare innovation. Today, it is my absolute pleasure to host Dr. Nikolai Kunitscher, the CEO of an Israeli medical device company named NeuroTrigger. Hi, Nikolai. I'm looking forward to conversation.
Hi, Adi. Thank you for having me here.
So perhaps before we begin, tell us something fun about you or your family so we get the opportunity to know you a little better.
Yes, so I'm a father of 4 kids, big family, and some fun facts about me. So I love extreme sports. Every year I'm waiting for my ski vacation to do some crazy stuff. So this is absolutely my hobby.
Nice. It's a pity that it's a little bit hot here in Israel and then you need to go elsewhere to enjoy your hobby. So in previous conversation we had, you told me about NeuroTrigger and how it all began. And like many other healthcare startups, it typically involves someone that is in pain, that is in need, that is in suffering, with no good solution. Tell me the story of NeuroTrigger.
So the story was actually our company began with the story of Michal Marks, who's one of the co-founders. She's a lawyer, and one day she got noted a problem in the head, and then she found out that she has a tumor in the head, and she were taken to a surgery, and the tumor was removed. But because it was a very complicated tumor, during the surgery, they damaged the facial nerve. And although she recovers from the surgery and all the tumor was removed, she was left with permanent facial paralysis because of the damage to the nerve. And during the years, so she's a lawyer, and she felt very frustrated from the side effects, such as chronic fatigue, headaches, sensitivity to light, and many other side effects that prevented her from operating and doing her job. And the main problem and the main reason for those side effects was the lack of blinking. She found out that because she cannot blink because of the facial paralysis, all the side effects are affected because of the dryness of the eye, and everything is involved in with the facial paralysis. And not only that, so she, of course, went to several physicians, all the experts, and all of them told her that there is no solution today. There are several surgical solutions that she got. For example, actually the suturing of the eyelid to close the eye a little bit. There are other partially efficient solutions, such as the implantation of gold weight into the eyelid to drop the eyelid a little bit. But there are very static solutions that not actually dealing with the problem. And not only that, the experts, ophthalmologists, said to her that because she's still young and there is constant damage to the cornea because of the dryness of the eye, at the end she's going to lose the vision of that. So she was very frustrated of this prognosis and all the situation. And she, during one of the dinners, she told it to her 2 very close friends. This is the problem, and this is the prognosis. And they said to her, listen, so basically what you need is a pacemaker to make you blink. And pacemakers are around for 30 years already, so it shouldn't be so hard. And actually, at the beginning, they actually looked for something like this available on the market. And when they found out that there's nothing like this on the market, they said, listen, we're going to develop it for you. And this is how the company was established. So they did a garage prototype based on a TENS device. TENS is transdermal electrostimulation devices. Some of you might know them from physiotherapy that you're going through. So there are several TENS devices available on the market. So they did some garage prototype device based on these TENS devices. And the second she put it on herself, she felt relief right away. And not only that, she even felt that some of the side effects that she thought was because of the surgery, all of them disappeared. And they decided, so they have something very important, and they decided that they want to open a company and bring this device to other patients that's suffering like Michal. This is how the company actually was established.
So this prototype her friends made for her had an objective of muscle stimulation, right? The idea was to stimulate the muscle because the nerve is not working properly, and to allow her to blink, right?
Correct.
That was the motivation. But there is a long distance between this initial prototype, which is based on TENS mechanism of action, and the actual prototype you guys have today. Can you say a few words about the development challenges? Yeah.
So first of all, of course, the initial prototype was very cumbersome with the different electrodes and all the electronics, sticking out of it, and the electrodes were very big, and it was quite painful because the stimulation is not used to stimulate small muscles like muscles that makes you blink. So there was a big need for adjustments, not only in parameters of stimulation, but also in to have this device friendly and user friendly and easy to use. So this is what they decided to go for, and this is how the company was established, and then we took it from there.
And how was this R&D funded?
So this R&D, so at the beginning, actually, the first prize that actually got this company moving forward was there is a competition called a Mirage 45 Plus competition, which means that entrepreneurs with age of over 45, you can apply for this competition. And if you win this competition, you get $100,000 prize money for this kind of development. And this is how the company actually moved forward. So they got this prize money, they won the first place, and then they started the development. And with using this money, they also submitted for Israeli Innovation Authority grant, and they received grant under the pathway of Ezrotech for 2 years. And this is basically how this company was initially funded and took it further to develop the prototype that we have now.
So altogether, how much money did you secure for this R&D project?
So at the beginning, it was let's say something around $500,000. This was the beginning and the initial stages of the company, but now we are in a completely different place.
Okay.
In the last years.
Tell me a little bit about the patients which can benefit from this device.
Yeah, so there are two types of facial paralysis patients. There are permanent facial paralysis patients, and there are temporary ones. Permanent patients like Michal, it's because of the tumor, of trauma, stroke, different causes that basically, it's irreversible nerve damage and makes you become facially paralysis. And the other side of it is the temporary facial paralysis, what most of them call Bell's palsy patients, which are suffering. It can be completely etiological without no reason. It can be stress, it can be viruses. There are several reasons that cause temporary facial paralysis. Most of the patients recover, but some of them never recover, and some of them, on average, you can say that they're suffering from facial paralysis for a phase of 6 months, more or less. This is an average of those temporary facial paralysis patients. And yeah, so we actually, this is our mission. We don't want to restore the nerve function. We just want to restore the function of blinking. As fine as it sounds, I never thought that I was going to talk so much about blinking until I joined this company. This is something that most of us take it for granted. But this is, now I understand, even things like blinking is so important. So this is our mission in the company. We want to restore this function and increase dramatically the low quality of life of those patients. This is very important for us.
So after you generated a mature enough prototype, you conducted your first clinical study.
Yes. So using this prototype, we conducted our pilot study in Tel Aviv, where we tried this prototype device on patients from both sides of the permanent paralysis and temporary paralysis, and we tried to evaluate whether our device can make them blink during the paralysis. And we found out that approximately 75% of patients were able to blink. One of the very important issues that we found out is that five of the patients didn't blink, and the reason for that is that because their muscles were atrophied. So now we know that if there's over 2 years since the initial paralysis of the patient, because the muscles doesn't work, they basically atrophied. So our device will not be able to help them. This was very important outcome of this trial for us.
And moving forward, you continued to develop the device to mature it, right? And then you submit the device to the FDA.
Yes, so maybe just a few words about how this device is looking now. So it's completely different from the initial prototype.
Okay.
So our device composed of 3 elements. The first element is this stimulator, which sits on the ear like a hearing aid, basically. This was, our intention in designing. And it's composed of all the electronics, the battery, everything. It's totally rechargeable that you can use for the whole day. We attach to the stimulator a daily use and disposable electrode, which is attached by a magnet, and then there's adhesive material to attach it near the eye. And everything is controlled by a mobile application that we developed. This is the third element. And through this application, you can see how much battery you have. You can turn it on, and you can turn it off. You can basically even decide how often you want to blink, because if you are inside, outside, if it's a windy, so you change the pace of blinking. So you can control everything using this mobile application that we developed. So this is a 3 components system, very user-friendly, very easy to operate, and it's completely different and involved from the initial prototype that we started with.
At which stage you submitted it to the FDA?
Yeah, so right. So we submitted this device for the FDA under TENS predicate, and I am very happy to say that I think 2 months ago we got it approved for use of this device under the intended use of prevention of muscle atrophy, as I said, and re-education of muscles to operate, because this is basically what we're doing. We stimulate the muscles for them to start working again. So this is the intent of use that we got from the FDA, and we are very happy to say that we are in this stage, because it was a long journey.
Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you.
Okay. So moving forward, you told me that you're currently conducting a usability study, right?
Yeah, so exactly. So the plan is that we want to submit, and this is the plan. So we want to submit another submission to the FDA, what's called a press hub, to get this device into larger clinical trial in the Q2 of 2024, in order to increase and add additional intended users of this device for blinking as such. In US, it's going to be a multinational study in Florida, UK, in Israel. And to do so prior to the submission, we have, first of all, of course, to evaluate the device from the usability side of the patients to see how they can operate it, how easy it was. And now we are in the middle of this trial, and it looks very good and very promising, and we actually got a very, very good and strong reactions from the patient, stating even that it changed the progress of their disease, because they really was suffering of this disease, and we really helped them. So it's very nice to hear that you're actually helping patients with this device. So it's important for us.
So aside from this usability study you're currently running, you plan to conduct a long-term validation study. You plan to do this in the US, in Israel, and in the UK.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about this.
Yes. So actually, one of the things that we just recently received was two grants to help us with this clinical trial. One of them is the BIRD grant. It's a bilateral grant between Israel and US. And we have a great partner in Florida. It's David Rand, who is the innovation officer of the Rand Eye Institute in Florida. He's super eager about this device. From the moment that he saw this device, he understood the potential. He had those patients coming to him and actually with nothing to offer to them. So he was super excited to submit this proposal together with us. And I'm happy to say that we won this grant and we are planning to start this trial, as I said, in Q2 next year. And we also received another grant of UK Israel pilot program where we can we're going to use these funds to do the clinical trial in UK with two centers, one in Leeds, one in Sheffield, and both of them are really excited to have this device, as I said, because every ophthalmologist that we are talking to, they understand the value of this device because the patient are suffering and they have not really have a good solution for them. So everyone is really eager to start these trials and then bring this product to the market faster.
And how many patients would participate in these studies? Say a few words about the design of the study.
Yeah, so the idea is that we're going to have 100 patients in total. As I said, it's going to be divided between US, UK, and Israel. And the idea is that, it's going to be mimicking the market of this device, which means we're going to give this device with the app and the electrode to the patients. It's going to be home use device. So they're going to self-use this device and they will come to the clinic every once in a while to do the evaluation of the device, the evaluation of the blinking abilities, and with the follow-up of, the improvement in quality of life, or everything that they want to follow up.
Nice. And let's talk a little bit about the competitive landscape. How do you intend to differentiate your product from current solutions?
So I think here is quite easy for us because, as I said, there's nothing like us on the market. So there are several surgical procedures. As I said, it's called the pterosophy, which is the suturing of the eyelid, gold weight implantation. There's reanimation surgeries that are trying to implant different nerves. But all of those surgeries, although they are invasive, they're still very, limited in effectivity because they're not dealing with the problem of lack of blinking. On the other hand, this is what people usually doing is different lubricants or drops that they put in their eye. But again, because there is no smearing effect of the blinking, the effect is very, very limited. So this is why they're really suffering, and this is why we call all those solutions, we call it the static solutions because they're quite static and doesn't restore the blinking ability, as opposed to our device, which is a dynamic solution, is actually dealing with the problem and restoring the blinking. And once the blinking is restored, the nature and the physiology of the body restores the rest of the things, like tearing of the eye and everything is needed.
Let's discuss shortly the commercial activity. In essence, you have an FDA approval. In essence, you can initiate market penetration. You guys want to do this long-term study in order to generate additional, generate additional data of patients with long-term use, which is absolutely fantastic. What are the steps you're currently taking in order to promote this initial market penetration?
So, we already, although we are, as you said, we are not doing the marketing operation now, we are already talking to strategic partners that saw me presenting and know me, and we are in discussions with them. It's still too early to disclose any details, but there is a very big interest. And actually, I can tell that, you know, from the last time that I presented in US, there are a lot of physicians stood in the line to talk to me and to try this device because, as I said, there's nothing to offer. So those partners are looking at it. So I think that there's a big interest from the partners, but also from patients themselves, because, as I told you, although they have very limited solutions, but it costs today to use those lubricants, and even without surgeries, but just lubricants and drops, it costs them hundreds of dollars every month. So, you know, device like ours can really change not only the quality of life, but also, you know, from the financial point of view for those patients as well. So there's a big interest, and I think the more we're going to be closer to the market with this usability study and with this long-term follow-up study, the more interest is going to bring.
Fantastic. And when you look into the future, so who are, and you need to kind of try and think of patients with the suffering from different diseases which result in facial paralysis. Who are these patients which might benefit from this device in the future?
So, as I said, because we're not trying to cure the damaged nerves, we're just trying to help them with the facial paralysis side effects. I think, as I said, so we know that the temporary facial paralysis patients and the permanent facial paralysis patients can definitely benefit of that. For permanent ones, probably it's going to be throughout their life until as long as because they're going to be paralyzed for the rest of their lives, unfortunately. For the temporary patients, you know, during this disease phase, they can use our device to eliminate the side effects and to increase the quality of life. But we are thinking about, you know, taking this to next steps. I think we can offer this device for other patients suffering from neurodegenerative diseases, such as Parkinson, for example, because we know that those patients, they suffer from reduced pace of blinking. And we think that using our device might increase the pace of blinking, and then they can avoid the dry eye disease that we are suffering from.
That's wonderful, Nikolai. It was a pleasure and an honor having you here today. No doubt NeuroTrigger is facing an exciting year. I wish you lots of success in upcoming clinical study. And I hope that 2 years from now, each patient suffering from facial paralysis will be able to avoid muscle atrophy and maintain better quality of life with your device.
Thank you so much, Ed. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Nikolai.